Next product is the Essential. Essential is a little bit longer already on the market, and the Essential is actually also one of my, let's say, very important products because it also represents the DNA of my brand. With the Essential, I thought I give the consumer a lot of different choices. This is the just basic version, but the Essential, you have, 6, 7 different versions. I know some distributors and dealers hate me because I have so many different products, but for me the customer is more important and the customer wants to have choices. First, I want to explain you what is the difference between the T1 and the Essential. So, first difference, major difference is, T1, we said the chassis is very important. The chassis has no hollow spaces, so this is the number one principle. But what is the small, let's say, saving on this chassis? It's out of particle board. And particle board has a little bit more air enclosure as MDF. MDF, medium density fiber boards, are the material where all high-end speakers are made out of it. Why? Because they are very, very low resonance. And the Essential is the by far low-cost turntable where we already have MDF as a material included. Why nobody is doing this? Expensive, because this is 3 times more expensive. And when on top you make it lacquered with 8 levels of lacquer that you get in this beautiful piano finishing, then you can imagine it cannot be the same price like this. Very simple. Next big difference is the platter. The platter here is done also out of MDF. It's heavier than the T1. But again, because it's painted with very special lacquer, which coming for sure from Austrian company, so we don't import these creases, it's very high end. It's also expensive. Why we don't use glass? This is the more expensive solution, because you can balance the platter better. So all our high-end products are balanced platter. You know this from the car, but it's effort. You need big machines for this. Therefore, it's a price. So next is the tone arm. The tone arm here is fully adjustable, which means you can set your VTA, your tracking force, individually to the cartridge. So that means you have to make a little bit of work when you adjust. It's not very complicated, but you have to do something. Vertical trackle force. So this is the force what you need that the cartridge can stay in the groove and track the information of the groove. This is very important because, for sure, if you have a very, very high pressure, your record will not like that. And unfortunately, cheap cartridges and cheap tone arms need 4 to 5 grams to track proper. This is 3 times more than a proper cartridge does with a proper arm. This does between 1.5 grams to maybe 1.8 gram, does already a perfect tracking of the groove. So this keeps your record longer. You will read in some literature also another animal called VTA, which is vertical tracking angle. And this is also very important because the cartridge must be also in the correct angle to the groove. In turntables, the price range like the Essential, because we subsume the customer will not change too much cartridges. We have no adjustable VTA. In higher end designs, we do have then also vertical tracking angle adjustment because we think that over the time the customer will maybe go upgrade the turntable with a better cartridge, which I recommend always because the cartridge is just a very, very important part, and every turntable will sound with a better cartridge. In the low-cost players, we don't have the adjustability because customers usually upgrade in this area the turntable completely and not only the cartridge. So, anti-skating, a lot of people criticize us about our gravity anti-skating. They think magnetic anti-skating are much more modern. I'm sorry, I have to say the correct anti-skating is a gravity anti-skating. Every high-end tone arm today does like this. Why? Because the problem is that you have different skating force from out to inside because of the radius of the record. Because the radius get here much more steep than out, so have more force happening, and this force has to be compensated by the anti-skating. When I go from outside to in, it moves here in the holder. And simply, by simple physics, we getting here more anti-skating power. You can go to any physics book and you will understand what a power parallelogram means. It's the correct way, because a magnetic anti-skating has one anti-skating force. It doesn't change this force. Here, the force is changed by the positioning of the weight. And that's the big difference. Therefore, any high-end toner uses still this simple but correct way. It looks a little bit antique, but it's definitely the correct way. So what I also want to mention is, what you see also, for every customer is very easy to realize in mass market a good turntable from a bad turntable. They only need to look at the cable. In the low-cost turntable you have just a cable, a 50 cents cable, and here you have a wonderful cable, golden connectors, metal housing, and perfectly shielding. This cable is a so-called parallel symmetric cable, which means plus and minus is separated. Because usually coax cable puts plus and minus separate, but the ground of plus and minus are in one wire. Why is this? Because the cartridge is full balanced source. You see, you have here the plus and the minus, left and right in different cables, and this you have also here. But this is already $79. It's already quite reasonable, because you find cables with metal connectors in balanced version. You find also way over $100. So it's already. But we included this because we know it's so important. One thing you have also to understand: that any high-end product, any hi-fi product, is only as good as the weakest point. So I can make here the best design. When I use a shitty cable, I have a shitty result. What is more special? I said we have this in different versions. We realized that low-cost turntable tend to put the consumer everything on. So they put the phono stage on, they put a Bluetooth stage on, USB output to record, 3345 switch, electronic, everything. But not every customer needs everything. And the bigger problem is also all these parts, which they think they give more or less free. They are more or less free because they are nothing worth, because the components are very, very low. What you have from a 50-cent component phono stage? Nothing. You have bad sound quality. Because a good phono stage you can't do with a small board with 50 cents. So therefore I had the idea with the essential range, I call it the essential flexible range. I give the customer the choice what they want. If they have a sound bar where you have only an optical input and no analog input anymore, essentially it's the choice, because we have a digital output in the essential digital. If you want to connect Bluetooth, because your turntable is here and your speakers and amplifiers here, and you cannot run a wire anymore, we have the essential Bluetooth. For sure, it's not the best. Cable is always better, but it's still a solution. But it's not built in automatically. And when you want to record the record, we have the essential Record Master. And you can record it, but only few people record, so it should not be in as a standard. And when you need a phono stage built in, then we have a proper phono stage built in, a real good phono stage, and we call it essential phono. As well, we have the essential SB for people who need the speed change. The speed change, by the way, is also included in the Record Master. And very important, different colors. We have it in black, we have it in white, we have it in Ferrari red, and we have it in beautiful walnut. And the walnut is not a foil, the walnut is a real wood walnut, handmade in Europe. So that's the essential, a very, very interesting product, and still extremely affordable.